Uju, Wasanabe, and Jinikaz, Shishi, Dudem. My name is Andrea Camp. I'm a Buffalo Point member, or Neyashing. We were arrested yesterday after we entered our band office. For a little back history is we took over our band office last year in October, and we left in good faith. My daughter and another band member, Tony Lightning, and Ernest Kobanes, met with John Conover, and the intermediary was the RCMP sergeant from Sprague. His name is Harold Leninga. And we did leave the office in good faith. That's been over 6 months ago, and things have just deteriorated around here to the point where there are only 5 houses out here at Buffalo Point for Anishinaabe people. We're sitting here in the lovely home of Helen Kobanes. Her husband built this house for her. This is not a band house. Right now, my 2 brothers, John and George Camp, are living in a house that we cleaned up and moved into. It had been abandoned for a couple years. And when my brothers moved in, John Conover shut off the hydro. So this is unseasonably early winter, and we are living without hydro in our home. I am actually employed in Winnipeg, and I live there. I have an apartment in Winnipeg, but I do come here to visit probably every other weekend. I also visit family and friends in Warroad, Minnesota, so I'm not here that much. But we decided that we wanted to go back to the band office, and we wanted to take the office over again because we were actually counseled by the sergeant in Sprague, Harold Leninga. He said, well, if you guys leave the office now, when we left last year, he said, you can always, if you don't get any kind of cooperation or response to what's going on out here, you can always come back. So we figured, well, we'll come back, and if we took over the band office, that everyone would come back and something would happen. The other reason that I felt it very strongly that we had to take it back was that this so-called chief, his name is John Conover, he was arrested Tuesday for extortion of a government official. I believe the government official is a senator. And these kind of shady dealings, extortion is very bad, but it's only the tip of the iceberg of what these people have done. John Conover's father, Jim, wrote an autobiography. Well, he had a ghostwriter write his biography. He's barely literate. He said that, I think the book was published in 2008, and anybody can check this stuff. He said that Buffalo Point had assets of $40 million. These assets are hidden in an account. Well, they're not really hidden, but they're not accessible to us. Every Buffalo Point band member is part of this corporation. We've never received a dime. In his book, he says the corporation is worth $40 million. Last November or December, this is another matter of public record, John Conover, the chief, testified before Parliament that we here at Buffalo Point, Anishinaabe people, that we did not understand the land referendum that he put forth, which was to be able to sell our land, period, and to tax us. He had us poised to be the first First Nation in Canada to be taxed on their own land. So if you want to know why I went back in the band office when I knew that I was going to be arrested, I hope you understand why. I've never been arrested in my life. I've never been in jail. I'm a professional person. Excuse me. And I don't think, I really am not wanting this to be about race. I feel that the RCMP officers who arrested us were just doing their job, and I think they have a really shitty job, because this country lets people like John Conover, who can extort a government official, a federal government official, free, and they take women like me and Brittany and Carrie Kobanes and their 83-year-old grandmother and throw them in jail. And if I go back there today, they're going to put me under the jail. I'll never get out. For going to my band office. The Anishinaabe people at Buffalo Point are not allowed in any public place on this reserve. There's many people out there, Canadians, who don't know that this is a reserve. And I'd like to tell all of you that you should all be outraged for what happens here. John Conover testified before Parliament because he wanted to get his land referendum. He told them that none of us here know what's going on. We don't understand the land referendum. I have a bachelor's degree. My daughter has a bachelor's degree. My brother George has a bachelor's degree. We're educated people. And we did it without the help of these people. John Conover testified in front of Parliament that we didn't understand this referendum and that we were confused, and that's why we took over the band office last year. He also testified, and this is a matter of public record if you go to the notes of Parliament, is that there are $50 million worth of assets out here. Most of all the Anishinaabe people that live here are living below the Canadian poverty level. And really all we want is we want to be in control of Buffalo Point. We want our own chief and counselors. The second thing we want is we want a dialogue with Andic. They completely ignore us, and all roads lead back to them. There's nothing that anyone can do for us. People say, well, why don't you get a lawyer? Even if we had money for a lawyer, the Conover family has teams of lawyers. None of that $50 million is available for us to get a lawyer. And if we could scrape enough money or get people to help us for a legal fund, it wouldn't matter, because he doesn't have one lawyer, he has a team of lawyers, and he needs them. Because like I said, this extortion charge is the tip of the iceberg. There's malfeasance, there's fraud. This government is being frauded every day. The Canadian taxpayers are being frauded by these people every day. I don't think being arrested was fun. I don't think it was cool. But I was very happy in my heart that I could do something. I felt like at least I can do something to let these people know that I'm not going away. They turned off our hydro 5 months ago. We're living out here without hydro. But guess what? I used to live out here with my grandparents. We lived without hydro. It's not a big deal. But there's no reason for it. There's no reason for us to live like this. There's no reason why there's only five Anishinaabe band houses out here. But every day they spend money, lots of money, to sell more of our land. We're never we are never acknowledged even out here. None of our opinions matter about how we want to manage our land. Today, this morning, some band members saw non-band members, non-native people out here hunting. And when they were questioned why they were out here hunting, they said Drew Thunder told them they could hunt out here. Really, I would just like to see Anishinaabe self-determination out here. I want our own chief and council. The second thing I want is a real dialogue with Andic. And the third thing is, I forgot. What did I say? Oh, I want a moratorium. I want a moratorium on any more sale of our land. We don't know what they're doing. I understand what they're doing. They're selling our land, but we don't know what they're doing because we're not consulted on any of these matters. I just like to say I don't care what color you are or where you live, but if you're a Canadian, you should care that this goes on. The chief and council here are not just getting paid as the chief and the council, the two councilmen. They don't collect checks as a chief and councilman. And by the way, I don't think John Conover has even been on the reserve doing any work here for anyone for a long, long time. But the chief and council here, they're not just the chief and council. One of them's drawing pay for being the natural resources manager. They're taking pay for other jobs. My cousin likes to say 10 people could have a job out here making $50,000 a year for what John Conover pays himself. This is a crime, and I wish that everyone would write their senators, write this Harper government. And finally, somebody, sometime, somewhere has to address the racism that goes on in this country towards us. New immigrants come in here and they're turned into racists automatically. I really don't know what the answer is for this. But there has to, like I said, there has to be a dialogue with Andic. Thank you. Miigwech.